From the front pages of your newspapers to the front of your television screens, we bring you a deeper impact as well as insight with regards to the stories that we'll be tracking here each and every Friday here on ZBC. Now, of course, this is the headliner, and my name is Curtly Gwindi. We will be delving into the stories, getting into the hooks and the crooks of the matter, and of course, interrogating each story line by line. And of course, today Monica Chanda is not with us, but we will still carry the story forward with our very special guest as well as a seasoned journalist. And in studio today, we are joined by none other than Tsolisani, who is going to be breaking down some of the issues we bring to the table today. Tsolisani, such a pleasure to have you in studio.
My pleasure. Very good day.
Absolutely. It's a good day. It's a Friday, a day for the headliner. And of course, we delve deeper into some of the stories. And once again, in the headline, we will be looking at some of the government initiatives that have been put in place with regards to enforcement efforts, public perceptions, and personal stories surrounding drug abuse in Zimbabwe. Now, just a brief overview, Tsolisani. Give us your view on this issue that has been rampant within the Zimbabwean circuit.
Well, it's unfortunate that the generation has been taken away by drugs. People, particularly the kids, are being put to waste by drugs. And this time the government really gets hard on it and deals with people who are not only consuming but also selling drugs, because there seems to be a missing link in terms of the peddlers and those who are consuming. Yes, it's an entire generation that is at risk. People's futures are being put on risk. People are consuming drugs like no man's business. But where are those who are selling them? Why are they not being taken into account? So that's where government is coming in very hard and trying to ensure that they make sure everyone is accounted for and everyone is held to account for their actions.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, we are tracking the matter today that is paying particular attention to a former member of parliament's daughter who goes by the name of Mudiwa Maliswa, who was found in possession of illicit drugs. And we've seen a powerful statement from the father expressing tough love, as they call it nowadays, for the arrest of the culprits. And he reiterated that he's still advocating for tough penalties for drug abuse as well as drug peddlers. Now, this has broken the barrier, if I can say so myself, Tsolisani, with perspective and insight with regards to an appreciation that there is thought or thinking within the public space that drugs are only found within the downtown areas, the ghetto sites, the places that individuals will not necessarily say are medium or are low density, but maybe the high density areas. We do have an appreciation that this young lady was caught on site by CID officers within Marlborough, which is the north of Samora. Maybe your brief insight on that and that thought pattern that has now been broken.
Well, I agree with you to a large extent to say that this case really exposes that it's not only the poor or those who have got nothing to do are abusing drugs. For me, it breaks the myth that drugs are abused because youths have got nothing to do. But drugs are being abused because youths have lost a culture. Youths have lost a direction, one or the other. Look at this girl. She comes from a very well-up family. You look at Tema Mliswa, he's a well-up man, a well-off means. Even the other accused person who comes in as an accomplice in this matter, he also comes from a family, I believe, with means. And also the place where they were caught with drugs, it's not in Mbare where for Highfields or
right.
Glenview, Makokova.
Right.
This is the place whereby you expect the people who have would be like. So this case brings into question to say, why are people abusing drugs? Is it about idleness or it's just a lost culture? Let us think about that also, to say it's about a lost culture, a lost generation somewhere.
And identity speaking to that.
Because the effects of drugs are beyond a personality. They go beyond a society. It's about a family you are breaking down. It's about a whole nation whose generation wiped out one or the other. people are, if you look at the manner in which people are abusing drugs come out in, you can't formulate a future with. And this is why I applaud Tema Malaysia for coming out so hard. Painful as it may be, if I was a sibling, if I was the brother to this girl, I would feel like dead has let us down. But it is what it is.
Tough love, as they call it.
Facing the reality.
Tough love.
My daughter is becoming a nuisance. Let me speak out and save somebody's dead daughter. He is becoming a dead, not only to his daughter, but to somebody's daughter as well. It's a lesson that we have to pick out from there.
A lesson indeed to be learned. And if you are watching, also having an appreciation of what Xolisani has brought to the table. Together we will be uncovering the complexities of this particular matter and working towards a brighter, healthier future for all. But of course, we begin the headliner by just breaking down a few of the headlines we have been trekking within this week. And we kickstart with the Daily News, which is tagged the new wealth tax set to kick in. And Zimra is busy identifying those eligible to pay it. This comes after Finance Minister Honorable Professor Mthuli introduced the 1% wealth tax in his 2024 national budget, saying then the country's structure benefited the rich at the expense of the poor. The tax will be levied on all residential properties worth more than 250,000 United States dollars that earned the individuals below of age 65 years. Now, a detriment or something that is being brought to the table with regards to benefiting the economy. What's your take on this?
You know, even biblically it's written to say, to whom much is given and so much is expected.
Absolutely.
So definitely if you get much, you ought to be accountable at a high level. The question that one has to look at is, will the taxman be able to identify every property that is owned by these people? People have been amassing wealth at a very astronomical way, without regard to the economy itself. People have been amassing wealth, some have been evading tax. So it is time, I believe, it is time that the authorities have to come in. You hold accountable to say, if you've got $5, give us what belongs to us, what belongs to Caesar, back to Caesar.
Oh yes, most definitely. My view on this is definitely, you know, we want to obviously acknowledge those who are making their money and being able to amass such wealth. And if your property is valued at the figure that is stated in this headline, unfortunately, the wealth tax is on the way. But for now, we'll move on to the Herald that is tagged, no one will do of a hinder, says the president. Now, President Emmerson Mnangagwa assures the nation that no one will definitely. All right. We move on to the Herald that is tagged, and this particular headline then says, no one will die of hunger. These are the words of President Emmerson Mnangagwa. And it reads, President Mnangagwa assures the nation that no one will die from hunger and that his administration has put in place adequate measures to guarantee food for all communities. This comes as the nation is experiencing one of its driest years in history as crops wilt under the scorching sun, while water sources are drying up. Yes, we are speaking of the El Nino effect, and definitely, Xolisani, we have a time in which we are appreciating all things to do with the Second Republic trying its best to assure and ascertain the nation that food security is at the helm. A quick take on that.
Well, the good thing about the president is that he's not only talking, but he's also putting things to action.
Yes.
You look at the dams that are being constructed. That shows that we are not only depending on the rains, but we are also planning in terms of the realities of El Nino. Also, that the government is putting in place to import maize from the countries, talk of Russia, talk of those countries that received good rains. That shows the government is really putting the word into action. And also, what is important is that ensuring that everybody everywhere has got access to the basic foodstuffs. When you talk of December, by then we must be able to account everyone to be alive, because after this there is an economy to build. which we are doing so.
Most definitely. And of course, that is very true in its own right. We do appreciate the efforts of the Second Republic that continuously are showing us that the works are not going unnoticed. And of course, at this time, we get into the core issue that I think we've brought you into the studio to discuss today. And this has everything to do, most definitely not the least, but the last headline, which reads that is a story absolutely that has raised the buzz in all media platforms, from mainstream media to social media. And the Herald tagged it, Mliswa's daughter in court over Mtoriro. Now, very dramatic headline.
It's to try and simplify it.
Okay.
That's Mtoriro is the language.
As journalists, you and I, myself, we would obviously have an appreciation of this headline, but at the same time really think, okay, this is the worst that could happen over, a former member of parliament, now a chief, and his daughter is now in court over Mtoriro.
It's just to juxtapose Mliswa's status and the thing that is now being associated with him as a former MP and now a very important member of the community in terms of as a sub-book.
Oh, yes.
So he's a very respected person, and here is the daughter being found with Mtoriro, of all things. So you're trying to try and whip emotions.
Okay.
Try to whip society,
and obviously capture the audience.
Yes, to say Mliswa, Mtoriro.
All right.
Up and down.
Most definitely. And we do that up and down by obviously taking a step up into the headline, but coming down into a short break. And very, very shortly, we'll be getting into this very, very deep matter that has everything to do with drugs and the headline we've just read. Please don't go anywhere. This is the headliner. Thank you very much for staying with us. This is indeed still the headliner, and yes, as you have just heard, we are tracking the headline together with Xolisani Ncube, who is a journalist of note as well as a seasoned expert with regards to issues around drugs, because I can see that you are also very much invested into this message that is continuously raised even within our dispensation of the Second Republic, which is say no to drugs. But the headline we were looking at, which is in the Herald, has to do with the honorable former member of parliament, Themba Mliswa's daughter, who goes by the name of Mudiwa Chanetsa, who is the former member of parliament's daughter, was found in possession of 1.3 grams of a crystal meth. She was arrested together with Tawanda Chigudu, and they were remanded in custody until the 12th of March. Now let's take a look at that being a dynamic. I know we did speak about the juxtaposition in the headline. Perhaps your take on the issue around, being remanded within prison. Isn't this just supposed to be, first and foremost, is there confirmation that we were peddling, or it was just the intake, or they were partaking?
Whichever way.
Yeah.
Assumably, they are the source. They are the peddlers. There has to be consequences. Assumably, they are the consumers. They are destroying their future, one or the other, and the future of others, because they're not only true, they've got friends, a circle, which has to be broken. So when they're taken in custody, it's a process, it's a way to ensure that at least the drugs go through testing, to establish indeed if it was crystal meth, also to establish indeed if it was the grams that are being listed there. Indeed, and then give a process of them preparing their defense to say when they go to trial, they had an opportunity to look at their defense as well. Maybe they want to say these drugs were planted, one or the other. But the reality is, the manner in which the MP has taken the stance, the ex-MP has taken the stance, for me, it's beyond a father. It's a man standing for his nation, a man standing for his people, to say, if I can do this for my daughter, I have to also, I'm being a father, not only to Mdiwa, but even to other kids.
To the nation, absolutely.
Mdiwa has got friends whom they were doing this with, and maybe they were not caught, but it's a wake-up call to them to say, hey, when drugs will take you to prison, don't play around them. It is fire. This is death.
So Lisani, but at just 20 years old, I know we call it tough love, but let's put things into perspective here. These youngsters, obviously young, perhaps first-time offenders, according to some of the records that have been set with regards to the media and press. But is this not a bit of a stringent way of dealing with the issue? Also considering, you know, putting into light that, you know, the father could have also not made it as public because it's also a reputation that we're talking about. And also the comfort that they're experiencing right now is not as comfortable in prison.
You know, if you've never been to prison, you would never understand what Mliswa did. Mliswa, what he did was, he was avoiding issue of people coming to ask him to say, is this not your daughter?
Okay, so he cleared the air before the dust even got up.
That's number one. Number two, he's also saying, if my daughter can be, even yours.
Oh, yeah.
If my daughter with all what I have can abuse drugs or can be with drugs, maybe let's assume she was with drugs but not abusing them. If my daughter can be with drugs, even yours can be too. What are you doing as a father, right? Also, if you read through what Melissa has said, there is an undertone, a kind of like a father has spoken about this issue before. But he's saying, look, I have tried my best, and let the law take its course. My only problem is I come from a conservative perspective, whereby I believe you could have handled it in a different manner. But in realistic, he is telling that there is no better way to handle this thing other than letting the court deal with it. By the way, the courts are public. So even if he had opted to keep it within himself, the courts would have made the name public. And by then, it was like as if Mliswa is a bad father. He has failed to groom his daughter. Mliswa has exposed his daughter to drugs. Or Mliswa has done this and that.
So the headline would have been obviously different. But let's take a look at this and take this into, I think, bring it to the table once again. By and large, how are the courts actually dealing with issues of drug possession as well as drug abuse or drug consumption with prominent individuals such as the daughter? You know, we know that this is the one issue that's got public, but how do you think the courts are handling some of these issues that sometimes don't even come into light?
You know, I'll be honest with you, if there's anything that this government has really done well, particularly when it comes to the young people, is to fight drugs. Both the police and the courts. They've gone all out to try and deal with drugs. The courts have shown, they don't know your face, they know your crime. They look at the facts.
So prominent individuals, it's not really
it's not about who you are, it's about what you are doing. It's not about where you come from. North of Samora, south of it, beyond Limpopo, you are in Mzarabani. If you are caught with drugs, be aware. The only challenge that we have in Zimbabwe at the moment is that there are loopholes, particularly when it comes to police and other of corruption. But when all things being equal, give it up to them.
Okay.
They've fought this hard. No matter, we have seen people, we have seen councillors, right? Both from the ruling party and the opposition. Those who have been found with drugs being taken to the courts and being cleared there. At least that sends a good message. The law knows no status.
Oh, yes.
The law knows no color, no creed, no tribe, no religion.
So basically the law is blind.
The law is blind.
Oh, yes.
Mliswa or no Mliswa. Be found with drugs, you'll be answerable.
Absolutely. And Xolisani, let's put things into perspective here. We did see a little bit of video footage that was circulating on social media. This is obviously the likes of the father himself, the former MP Themba Mliswa, speaking and saying that there should be an equation actually, or this crime of drug abuse and possession should be equated to that of murder. What are your foresights, or can you see anything happening in the near future with regards to amendments of this drug abuse law and drug possession law being equated to that of murder? Is that extreme or not extreme?
Actually, it's an understatement. It's like genocide, particularly on those who are dealing with, those who are peddling. Maybe those who consume can say murder, but those who are peddling, it's genocide. You're killing an entire generation and an entire youthfulness. If you look at when somebody's high on drugs, they can't think.
Sticker.
Yeah, honesty campus. You understand? They can't think. I have seen people who are on drugs, educated. Okay, fine, with respect. I saw somebody who was working for an institution that I can't name a name. That I can give a name here. But he was an engineer somewhere. But the guy has been wasted. He's lost his job. His family is now wandering in poverty. The kids are. So just imagine the kind of challenges that come with these drugs. Imagine somebody, Agastika, right? He's a father. He can't feed for his kids. He's ready to go and do some. It's like an entire. So for me, drug peddling is genocide on its own. Drug peddling is manslaughter. Drug peddling is like you're killing 1,000 youths at a go. So when Melissa says it's to be equated to murder, I agree with him by and large, because you're killing a future. Death is sort of only about being buried. No, we always read about died in 2002, buried in 2020. What it means is simple. You were walking, a dead man walking all these years. And imagine at the age of 20, assumably she's taking drugs, how will she be at 40? Do you have a future with her? We can't. So it's something that authorities must come hard. There's need to equate drug abuse and drug peddling with rape, murder, stock theft, and everything like that. All those things must just be put together. You're killing a future and you're killing humanity.
Okay. And in your perspective, as besides obviously this trending story we're tracking, there was a voice about this issue that was largely opinionated. But let's not talk about when the offense is committed. Let's try and pay attention to when there is awareness being raised and education on social media. You and I are journalists. Are we doing enough with regards to raising awareness about drug abuse? We do know we're coming on the backdrop of National Youth Day, speaking to youth empowerment, but also raising the issue of the fight against drugs. We know that the Day of the African Child also commemorates initiatives such as fights and campaigns against drug abuse. However, do you think this is enough that is being done by the media and digital media at large?
Well, I believe we are lagging behind, particularly us in the media industry, because we are only writing stories that have happened. We are lagging behind in terms of raising awareness, largely because drug abuse don't drive sales. Unfortunately, media industry in Zimbabwe is commercially driven. It's not driven by the empathy of the economy, of society. Of society. Yes, we are less blind to society needs. Yeah. We focus on the dollar power.
On the economic issues.
Yes, so all those issues are a bit of a challenge, because look at it. If we were to raise awareness, in all fairness, at 20, people would know what to do at 20. They must be either in school, looking for vocational training, looking for a career, looking for all manner of good things you may think of.
And not messed up and munched up in drugs.
In drugs. So it's something that we must really, as media, must take a blame for. We are trying our best, but we are lagging behind. We need to compliment the government and really move so quickly and ensure that at least we raise the voice and raise the bar too high.
All right, so let's raise the voice and raise the bar too high. You've heard those words from Curtly, who's come through and, of course, been able to dissect, divulge, as well as kind of demean the idea of being a drug user, possessor, and distributor. The fight against drugs continues, and we are saying here on the headliner today, say no to drugs, pasi nemutoriro, like our president always says. Tsolisani, such a pleasure to have you in studio today.
My pleasure.
And most definitely, we look forward to be having more constructive conversations. This is exactly where you'll find these and more talks that have to do with all trending issues as we track them here on the headliner. You will be able to catch us same time, same place. But for now, as we start off a new month of March, we say a happy new month. And from me, Curtly Gwindi, and all of us at Pockets Hill, and of course, everyone who is the crew behind the scenes, it is a pleasant viewing, and God bless Zimbabwe.